So, hi all. Today we are going to study the first section of the unit number 5, which is going to be animal tissues. Okay, so I have already given that reviews in the Flash and Telegram group. So you can refer the past paper MCQs reviews for this supplement. Okay, so let's move on to this unit. It's about animal tissues. So tissue is the combination of cells, right? So cell is the structure and functional unit of life, and tissue is the combination of one or more cell types, which carries out specialized function. So when we see the animal tissues, so in unit number 4, you have studied about plant tissue. Here we are going to study about animal tissues. So when we see the animal tissues, there are 4 major types. One is epithelial, the other one is connective tissue, the one is muscle, and nervous tissue. So you already know about muscle, connective, and nervous. Epithelial is just a new thing for your A levels. Okay. So these are the picture I have given. Types of animal tissues. One is epithelial, nervous, muscle, and connective. So 4 major types of animal tissues are there. So let's see about the epithelial tissue. So you have to note down about the characteristics of epithelial tissue. So it covers external. So external surfaces mean when you see your skin, the external surface is keratinized, while the internal is not keratinized. So external is keratinized and internal is non-keratinized free surfaces and organs. So it will cover both the external and the internal free surfaces and the organs. First one. Then the cells are closely packed. So here the cells are closely packed. There's no space in between the cells. They have both apical and basal surface. So what is the main function of this apical surface? It remains free, so it does not have any function. And basal surface is only having the major function, which is what? Basal surface is attached to the basement membrane, so that can maintain the attachment for epithelial cells. Okay, so here no blood vessels. So this is one of the major points in epithelial tissue. The thing is, does not have any blood vessels, but it has a nervous supply. So note it down that it has a nervous supply, but there's no blood supply. Okay, tissue gets nutrients and oxygen from underneath the connective tissue across the basement membrane. So there's no blood vessels. So hemoglobin is the one which is going to carry the oxygen, right? So if it is no blood vessels there, how will the tissue get? Will get the nutrients and oxygen from underneath the connective tissue. So from the connective tissue, it will get those nutrients and oxygen. Okay, so that's the major characteristics of epithelial. One is it covers external and internal free surfaces and organs. Then the cells are closely packed, no blood supply, no blood vessels. It gets nutrients and oxygen from underneath the connective tissue. It has both apical and basal surface. So apical is remaining free, while the basal is attached to the basement membrane. Basal and basement. So you can easily remember that, no? Then functions of epithelial. So 3 major functions are only there. I have written this fourth point as an exception, like additional point. Okay. So in your resource book, you have to note down only these 3 points. One is protection, secretion, and absorption. Protection, barrier against mechanical injury, pathogens, and barrier against fluid loss. Secretion secretes enzymes, hormones, mucus, sweat. It absorbs nutrients and respiratory gases. So when you skim through these past paper questions, you would have observed that what is the function of epithelia and not the function of connective tissue, or which is the only function of connective tissue, but it's not common for epithelia. So even the functions are very, very important, because here no insulation takes place, no support like in connective tissue. So protection, secretion, and absorption, and you have to note down the examples also. Then we are going to see about the epithelia, the classification. So one is the simple epithelia, compound epithelia is the other one. Simple means it's having a single cell layer. That's why it's simple. Compound means it's having several cell layers. like single cells arranged, so many single cells arranged together to form this compound epithelium. So in simple epithelia, you have simple squamous, simple cuboidal, simple columnar, pseudostratified. In compound, you have stratified, squamous, and transitional. In our A-level syllabus, we don't have any like notes or references about this transitional, but we have known that all those five about like four simple epithelia and one compound epithelia. You have to know that. Okay, so these are all about the first classification of the epithelia, simple and the compound. You have to know down simple is the single cell layer while the compound is the several cell layers. And you have to know down the epithelia types present in them. So this is another picture I have taken from the internet. So you can see the like diagrammatic representation of these epithelial tissue. So this is a basic understanding about those types. And this is also like epithelia, simple, compound, squamous, cuboidal, columnar, pseudostratified, and stratified and transitional. This one you don't need to know. That yellow color part, stratified and stratified, squamous and cuboidal, you don't need to know. Okay. So let's see about each and every type of epithelial tissue. One is simple squamous. So for every word coming with simple, you should write as a single cell layer, and exceptionally you have to write for that pseudo stratified also. Okay, I'll explain later for that. So simple squamous is a single cell layer with plate-like cells. So this picture you can see, right? This picture you can see that single cell layer with plate-like cells. You can easily see that. Okay. Then it is thin and leaky. So plate-like cells. So diffusion, like thin and leaky, so it can easily diffuse. That's why it's found in places where materials exchange by diffusion. Okay. So example is also very, very important. Blood capillaries and alveoli. So you need to, when you need to know, like if you write the essay points, sometimes you will be needed to like draw them. So whenever you draw a diagram, don't forget to label that, because if you don't label, you don't have even marks for the drawn diagram, right? So here basement membrane connective tissue is where the this epithelial tissue gets the nutrients and oxygen, and nucleus is present here. So that's what we have to draw here. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. So simple squamous is done. Simple cuboid, single cell layer. So for you have to write single, simple, single. Okay. It's die shape. So you know cube means what? It's a dice, right? So die shape cells specialized for secretion. So it is found in kidney tubules, glands such as thyroid and salivary glands. These are the location, then the characteristic and the function. So as I have already sent that table, like classified table in the Flash EM Telegram group, you can easily see that I have specifically mentioned the feature, then the function, then the location, and also the picture of them, right? So like a tabular format, if you can study, then that will be very, very easy. Okay. Then simple columnar is single cell layer with large and brick-shaped cells. So columns like, so when you see a column, it is not like a cube, right? Sometimes it is large in the width or sometimes in the breadth. Okay. So it's a large and brick-shaped cells, often found in places where secretion or active absorption. In simple cuboid, only secretion is there. So this is another point which is here very important. Here's only secretion, here both secretion and active absorption. So these are found in places like intestinal lining. These are found in kidney tubules, glands such as thyroid and salivary. Columna is found in intestinal lining. Okay, so that's all about simple columna. Then pseudostratified consists of single cell layers. So pseudo means what? What do you understand from that? It's like it's not really a single celled structure. It's exhibiting a false thing or structure. Okay, so It is having a single cell layer, but it's not appearing as a single cell layer. Why? Because the cells are not of equal height. The nuclei are located at different levels. They appear as several layers. That's why what I have mentioned already by the name of that epithelial tissue. In many vertebrates, its epithelium has ciliated cells that form a mucous membrane. So it has that cilia, like this epithelium has the ciliated structure and it forms the mucous membrane. So cilia helps to sweep the mucus. So you know already that cilia is found in nasal passage and also trachea. So most of the respiratory tract pathways you can see this ciliated structure. So you can easily remember that. Right? Then stratified squamous. It consists of multiple. So among the compound epithelia, we have the stratified squamous and the other one is transitional. So stratified is having multiple cell layers. It regenerates rapidly and produces new cells near the basement membrane. So why it's regenerating? So do you know anything about that? So stratified squamous is found in places where abrasion or cut is present, like outer skin or like in lining of the mouth, and also in the inner part of the bodies like anus, vagina, due to the like contraction and relaxation process in our body, they will get sometimes damaged. So whenever the tissue get damaged, should get replaced, right? Because always a damaged cell will not exist in our body. Will like it will regenerate. Okay. So regeneration is very, very important in this stratified squamous because it is an epithelial layer which is more affected with this abrasion and cutoff. Okay, so it produces new cells. So damaged parts will be replaced with the new cells. So location is also very, very important. And when you see the transitional, it is not in your book, but knowing about is like one or two points only is important. So it consists of multiple, you know already, because the classification also we have already mentioned that compound having two epithelial layers. One is that stratified squamous and the other one is this transitional. So it is consisting of multiple cell layers. It lines several parts of the urinary tract, mostly bladder. Mostly bladder is made up of this transitional epithelia because it allows in the stretching. So bladder needs stretching when it fills. Okay, so that's why this epithelia is found in bladder. Okay, so I have given this structured question. You can try it out and you can easily refer your resource book and get answer for these types of questions. Okay, so that's all about epithelia. I will give another video regarding connective tissue in the next session.